G'day guys, how's it going? My name is CJ and today we're going to talk about computer cases. Now I'll be the first to admit that I'm not exactly a computer expert, but I do love building computers and seeing how the computer hardware can enrich our lives. So the computer case I've got here today is perfect for people who want to build a home theater PC without compromising on gaming performance. The case I'm talking about is the Silverstone ML08. The ML08 is the cousin of a very popular gaming case known as the Silverstone Raven, the RVZ02, and successor to the old model, the Silverstone ML07, which I also previously owned. Now there are plenty of gaming mini-ITX cases out there already, and they're useful in terms of portability and being able to easily take them along to, say, a LAN party. But the difference between those cases and this one is that this particular case would fit perfectly in your home theater setup. So in terms of its total dimensions, this particular case has about 12 liters of storage, which is pretty good in terms of mini-ITX cases. So it measures 380mm wide, 87mm high, and around 370mm deep. So it'll fit in most conventional TV units, and it actually fit in my TV unit, which actually has fairly narrow holes in order to put consoles, DVD players and whatnot. Whilst on paper and in photos it looks pretty slim, it has to be said right now that when we compare it to various consoles such as the PS4 and the Xbox One, this PC is still going to dwarf it in size. So don't be fooled into thinking that this particular case is going to be as slim and as small and take up the same footprint as the PS4, because it simply won't. But once you get over this particular fact, it works really well as a home theater PC. So in order to get into the case, it's just a matter of taking off a few screws and sliding off some panels. And Silverstone have done a really smart way of engineering this particular case and dividing up the different components so that it manages heat really well. And this is really important because the case itself doesn't come with any fans, and what this case relies on is passive cooling. Now, another thing to note about this particular PC case is that due to its size and slim profile, it's going to need a different power supply. So it won't take your conventional full-sized power supplies, and you're going to have to go for what they call an SFX, slim power supply. I'm not going to go too deeply into the actual components of the case itself because the guts inside this case is actually a number of years old, and we'll have a look at it. So on one side of the computer case you have pretty much the main parts of the computer. So you have your motherboard, your power supply, little really smartly designed quick release slots for your 2.5-inch SSDs. There's also space to fit an optical drive, but I've modified my case a little bit so that it can accommodate a 3.5-inch hard drive. But I'll get to that in a little bit. And then on the other side is the compartment for your full-size graphics card. There's also a large amount of space to access the rear of your motherboard in case you have an aftermarket fan, and also if you have a motherboard that is compatible with M.2 SSDs. So the bottom side of the case is really interesting in that if you didn't want to install a full-size video card, there is actually space to further expand and install another 2.5-inch SSD or even a 3.5-inch disk drive. But if you are using a full-sized video card, it is important to note that there really won't be enough space or clearance for a 3.5-inch drive, which is the main reason why I had to modify the top in order to accommodate my 3.5-inch hard drive. So I think Silverstone have done a really good job at designing and utilizing the limited amount of space to allow for the right balance of expansion and slimness. So I've been using this case for the last couple of weeks and it's done really well. Because the case doesn't have fans itself, it runs really quiet, but because of the smart engineering and the way they've divided up each different compartment, it's actually been managing airflow and temperatures really well. It hasn't shown any sign of overheating, and actually even in the nice narrow spaces of my TV unit, it's been doing really well and humming along really nicely. So overall, if you're looking for a great slimline case that will fit in really well with your home theater setup, but you don't want to sacrifice your gaming capabilities, have a look at this case. It runs for around $80 to $100 in Australia, and I'll put a link in the description below. It's an understated, more professional looking case when you compare it to its gaming cousin, the Raven RVZ02, and it would probably fit in any home theater setup. So what do you think of this case? Do you own one of these cases? Let me know in the comment section below. In any case, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to smash the like button, and if you haven't already, do consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching the video, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Say good day to your mum for me. Cheers.